And we are live.
Hello, my lovelies. Yes, yes. I know it'll probably take a moment. I haven't been live in so long on my channel, so.
It's live now.
All right.
It's live now.
And all right. So
I'm hearing somebody's replay. Is that yours, Carla?
Oops. Yep. Okay.
I'm
It's
hearing
like
the
past
spirit.
tense, like we're traveling, time traveling. What's
I know.
that?
I just had spirit activity going on.
Wow. You just had something like walk by you? Maybe that's why
Yeah,
there's been
the
interference.
footsteps
Yeah.
and the noise. Well, that was interesting. Okay.
Somebody else wants to be in the video, I think, is what it is.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
You're doing this without me.
tarot tea and tiaras. So what tea are we drinking today, ladies?
Matcha strawberry lemonade tea.
Hi, sweetheart.
Ooh. Hello, darlings. Welcome. I am drinking from Botanical Blends, Warming Vanilla. It's supposed to be a stress support, and I love it. They got these cute little quotes, too, on the little tea bag thing, like, of inspiration, and I really like that. If you all hear all this noise, I'm sorry. The boys are all working in the yard, and we just have to deal with it today, so.
Exactly. That is the life of a goddess, right?
Absolutely.
I'm drinking in my Marauders map cup from Harry Potter, which I love the Marauders map, but I'm drinking lemon and ginger with probiotics in it and some honey, a little bit of honey.
Nice.
Num nums. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So first, I thought we would share, if you guys are in the Amethyst Ascension group, you know what spreads we're talking about. And if you're not, well, you should, go over there on Facebook and join that group, because we do a lot of cool things in there, especially about these discussions. And we've been posting different spreads related to goddess energy. And we did them all, and I thought they were all lovely and beautiful. But which one resonated with you ladies this week? We can start with Rochelle, I guess, and go around.
Well, I mean, honestly, every single one of them resonated with me completely. I thought they were all phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to add that Maria, Lady Knight of Avalon, she could not join us today because she is under the weather. A lot of coughing, so she didn't, and not a lot of rest. But anyways, so she did want me to mention, or for us to mention, that we were using different decks, feminine decks while we were doing this, although I changed it up. But she wanted me to let everyone know that she used, was it the Housewives?
Yeah.
Housewives Tarot. Because it reminds her of her, she's got bronchitis. Because it reminds her of her grandmother, and her grandmother was a huge person in her life, and she loved her so completely. She was like her hero. So, and it reminded her of that. So, and you say whatever else you want, honey, Maria, and let everyone know, because she is here with us. So,
and feel better, darling. Hi.
And also, I wanted to mention that Summer normally is with us also, but Summer is actually traveling right now. So she's off traveling the world.
Jealous.
So she couldn't make it today. So. I know. She's on the road right now as we speak. So, all right, I'm done now.
So, Carla, what spread resonated with you most?
I personally like the crone, the one that Rochelle put in there. That one was really good because I was able to, I feel like sometimes that certain suits represent, certain things, and it makes it easier to read a spread that way. I thought that was genius. So that one, I really like that one. And Lady Blind Wolf too.
Yes. The crone one that she had posted, and then Lady Blind Wolf's Triple Goddess. I really loved that one.
Me
I
too.
chose to do my female sexuality one. I think that one like really resonated, and we're going to get into that in this discussion, different feminine aspects, and you'll see later in our discussion why this one resonates and I feel passionate about it. But yeah, I just wanted to share some of the cards I got real quickly. I'm not going to go deep into it, but you know, the first question, how do I express my sexuality? I got the Magician.
Ooh.
And then the second, how do I embrace it? I got 8 of Cups and the High Priestess.
Ooh.
Don't know if
I
y'all
want to hear what your interpretations of these are, if you feel so bold. Give us
right. Where do I have shame in my sexuality? I got the Lovers.
Oh.
Interesting, right?
Yeah.
And I know why that is, because the last question, how can I be more sexually free? I got the 3 of Swords.
Wow. Uh-huh.
And I think I have major issues with, I'm very sexually expressive. You know, I love that, passionate about sex with my partner. But I do think that it makes me feel more loved. And that's where that heartbreak is the illusion of, okay, if we're not doing this, they don't need me. And that's the shadow side that I think I need to kind of work with, or that shame side with the Lovers. You know, that third party is my mind saying or thinking like that, you know. And now that I'm aware of that, so yeah, it was a really interesting reading.
Wow. So for mine, for that one, I got, how do I express, and I use a, what is the name of this? The Divine Feminine Oracle. I used a lot of oracles in this, like feminine energy oracles. But so for this one, which I will give you guys, I love, sorry about the dog. I love the digital journaling. I mean, let me show you really quick.
I want one.
That's the second one. So when we say that we did all these, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were excellent spreads.
Yep.
But for the sexuality one, how do I express my sexuality? I got Bridget, which she is the goddess of eternal flame. I am an eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter. Like, wow, you know it, baby. Right?
I like it.
How do I embrace my sexuality? I got Sekhmet, the red lady. I am pure strength, which is true. For those who really know me, know, yeah. Because I'm very dommy. Yeah. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. You guys all know that about me, right? I'm very expressive. I don't hold back in that regard, and I don't in that area either. How is somebody going to know what you want unless you friggin' tell them? Unless you say, this is what I need, right?
Absolutely.
Where do I have shame in it? And I got Marguerite Porete, the mystic of divine love. Love is divine, and I am nothing except love. So what did I put for that? Shame. Maybe that's a bit too personal on the kinky side, so maybe not. What was the last one I had? How can I be more sexually free? And I got Dakini, the enlightened feminine. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me. So, yeah, whatever is my passion, whatever feels right, is okay. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're a consenting adult, go for it. And you know, when you've been in a marriage for as long as I have, you go for it when you have the opportunity, because it can get old after 32 years, right? So you got to keep it spicy. So anyways, What about you, Sissy? What do you want to share about? She's like, woo.
I love these talks.
Well, that was one of them where I know I have a lot of shadow work, is the female sexuality spread, and the cards came out as validation of that. And I used my smoke, ash, and embers, and without getting into that spread, because that one was definitely a personal message between myself and my higher self. I noticed when I was resetting my deck that this deck has options. I wasn't sure what it was. I thought, I had to call my sister, and I said, check this out, sis. I have 2 10 of swords, but they have different artwork. And I'm so new to tarot. I got so excited. I'm like, what does that mean? She said, she goes, that's options, sis. And I was like, ooh, I love it, because in one, the dragon is, tired. He's just exhausted, or she, myself is just exhausted, and she's laying down. Very beautiful. And then the other one, she's pierced and bleeding.
Yeah,
so
wow.
I thought, that's it. That's right there. To me, I like having the options. I think that it's beautiful, because there are those cards in every deck and especially if you're Rider Waite, that you might have a little bit of problem with certain meanings that are standard. So having that is like, I don't know. I just thought that was beautiful that they put that in there. I'm like, yeah, thank you, because that's how I feel about, the 4 of Cups. I mean, there's
many cards. Yeah,
many cards, especially doing these spreads was like, oh my gosh, without, whether it comes in reverse or whatever placement it has, just knowing the shadow side of the card, it's like if it comes up in a position where, wait a minute, should it be that negative? No, I think I'll use the opposite, because it still applies. So I just like that. I think it's awesome.
So Maria really quick says, yes, my grandma was my hero. Real goddess energy. I love that. I love that.
Love it.
I did a few more, and I uploaded the video yesterday. Yeah, I just haven't had the time to go and watch that yet. But I did do your first 2 goddess ones.
Great job.
Yeah, they were wonderful. Maria says, I like the sexuality spread as well. Thinking about changing my name to a lot of cobwebs.
You got to get them broke out, cleaned out.
If you got to do that all by yourself, then do it, girl. What the hell, man? She said, for that spread, I actually used a sexuality deck. Don't want to talk sex with my grandma. Understood.
You know what my grandma used to tell me?
What?
My grandma used to tell me, look, when you first meet him, you put it on him hard. And then you sit on his face and grab his ears and you go to town. That was my grandmother's advice to me.
Wow, grandma.
Rock on, grandma.
Yeah, wow.
She told Chris to break my bed or he ain't doing it right. Like, that was my
grandma. She says,
am I coming in okay for you guys?
It's, you are most of the time. It's a bit, patchy every once in a while. So she is having issues with her internet, her connection, guys. So just bear with me. If she does end up getting out, she'll be back. Dark Mirror,
apologize.
Really, it happens, honey. Don't even worry about it. We understand.
So connected to feline. Yeah.
All the time.
What is What is you ladies' idea of a goddess, or like that goddess energy? And what goddess do you kind of resonate with or see aspects of yourself in?
Well, for me, I don't necessarily resonate with just one goddess other than maybe Sophia, because I feel like Sophia takes on all of the other archetypes of the goddesses. I don't necessarily look at the goddesses each individually. I mean, I do for if I'm like trying to utilize a certain power or energy, what they were known for. But in general, when I was even doing, let me just say, the last spread that Lady Blind Wolf had done, which was the elemental one, the Goddess of Elements tarot spread, she talks about taking the 4 elements, which I love that spread, by the way, taking the 4 elements and finding, so like an earth goddess, a water goddess, like that. And when I was doing my search, the ones that I really resonated with, they were known for several of the elements. So that's why I just made mine mainly as Sophia and just took on the element itself for that particular spread. But goddess energy to me is love. It's psychic stuff. It's reception. It's compassion. It's sometimes hard ass, right? That mother is also not just, well, I also look at feminine or goddess as very much
nurturing,
that mother archetype. But with a mother, mom is not just a sweet little nurturer, sweet little taking care of. That mom is also fierce and protective, and sometimes has to be the disciplinarian. Okay, let me add her over here and remove this one. And she's back, guys.
Sorry.
No problem. So, like I was saying, I look at the feminine energy very much, or the goddess, like a mother, the mother archetype. And, like Kali, she's creator, but she can destroy your ass at the same time if she has to, right? So that's how I see mother energy. What about you, sis?
Well, we talked earlier. I think that feminine energy by itself, if you don't have a balance with the male energy and say you're more feminine.
About
Don't worry. My son always asks me if I'm nuts. So
I love that. Go ahead, Sissy. I'm sorry. I just seen that and I had to put it up there.
Anyway, just that because I agree the feminine energy is everything that you just said. But if there's an imbalance, then feminine energy can also be over analytical. It can be volatile. It can be reactive. So the ultimate goddess is both of those things. But in order to, I think you got to keep a balance in order to use it, so that you're still nurturing and not tearing someone apart.
Yeah.
I agree. I completely agree with you guys. And for me, I see an aspect of all these goddesses. They're like fragmented pieces of the whole of the Sophia. Each of them have their own pros and cons to them. And I know she's so often depicted as, divine, beautiful light. And I tend to resonate more with the goddesses that are both, that are dualistic in nature, because I feel like that embodies the woman. It embodies our energy. We are both creative and able to destroy. We have so much power within us. And I think as women, we kind of embody that goddess energy every day, and it manifests in so many ways. And that's kind of what we want to talk about, is how being a goddess as women affects us in our daily lives, and what that means to us, and to explore these different things in the female experience.
Yes.
So,
I mean,
how do you ladies
heard that
feel about?
expression before? I brought you into this world, and I can take you out, right?
Oh yeah.
As a mom, right?
How'd you ladies feel about those videos we posted in the group chat? I posted some TikToks I seen of men trying out the period cramp or labor simulations, and also their reactions to like tampons or whatever, but how they're used. And I just thought it was hilarious. Because these things go up to 10, and most of these men were only on 3 or 4, but when the woman put it on her, she was up to 10, and like, yeah, I'm used to it.
I feel like that's the truth, because even like, I don't want to throw my old man under the bus, but even cold time, and we got to still do everything that we do every day, cold or not,
Right.
at least in my household. And yeah.
And I know this is going to sound terrible, especially to other men, possibly. But I love watching those videos. I just laugh so hard. I swear I can't take a drink when I'm seeing some of it, because I'll spit it out. I'm laughing so hard. And maybe that's a sadistic part of me, but oh my gosh. I mean, when you hear, oh, it's not that bad, you're making it more than what it is. You know what? Go through what I'm going through, the pain, the worrying about bleeding. If you were a heavy flower, and this is going to get real, guys, sorry, but if you were a heavy flower, especially when you first started and you were in school, you had to worry about possibly getting up and having it all over your pants or whatever. It is so much for a woman to deal with, not just the pain part of it, and then the emotions going crazy, because it is our hormones that are also messed around with, right? So that's why also women are so powerful, because they even sync up together. Other women know when other women are on their periods, because they start having their cycles at the same time, because the hormones are so strong. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that is a bad thing by any means. I don't think that I'm not a rational person. Well, maybe sometimes, but I am just as rational as anybody else, regardless of whether or not I was on my period. How many times have you been in a conversation with a guy and they'll disagree with you? Whoops.
Sorry.
And you'll hear, well, like husband or whatever, and you'll hear, are you on your period? It's like, really? Really? Because I don't agree with your opinion, I'm on my period, or I'm overly emotional or whatever?
Well, that's because there have been studies, actual scientific studies or whatever on the hormones that we are, dealing with on that time, that there are certain things that women are supposedly not held accountable during that time because of that reason right there. Well, I wonder who did those studies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Really?
But I can see somebody wanting to use that also as an excuse to be nasty. Because I've had that too.
Right.
Well, I mean, when it's something, especially when, the people in your family are repeat offenders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, haven't we had this conversation like 100 times over already? Do you see why I'm out of the frustrated? But anyways, that got off topic, but we have to deal with. And those men, honestly, for doing that, they are like kings in my book for even trying to attempt to understand what a
Yes.
woman goes through. I applaud them because they're like, no, 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 no. And it was so much pain. And they didn't have to do that. There was nobody that told them that they had to, but they chose to because they wanted to kind of put themselves in somebody else's shoes.
Yep.
That is commendable.
It is. Yep. It's wonderful to see a man in touch with his feminine side. It really is. When a man shows his emotions, when he,
Yes.
wants to help you. I mean, yeah, definitely.
So what are some other stigmas like that we as women go through or experience? What are some stigmas as a woman that you have experienced? Similar to, like you said, we're more emotional or different things like that.
I seen a funny one. Oh my goodness, I wish I could find it to show it, but it was so I'm just going to give you a roundabout. The guy says, am I the only one that when I leave the room that even if I have a code on my passcode on my phone, it's only a girl can break into it in the time I use the bathroom and gone through my phone. Usually it is a woman that is more pays attention to everything, where the man, it kind of might go, boop. Did you see that? See what? What? Kind of like that.
Or or they just act like they didn't see it, but they did. Who knows, right?
Who knows?
Yeah, but I do think women are very receptive. So, which is why
Intuitive.
we sync up, right?
Yeah.
Why the moon is like ours, because I mean, like this, for instance, you and I, Carla, we can have a conversation without even talking sometimes. We're just like, I'll say one word, you go, oh, I know, right? And then we'll just go, right, yeah, I know. And we've had like a whole friggin' conversation. Courtney, it is the same way. Courtney is like, you think it's a family, like somebody that's been in your family for a long time because that connection is so strong. And women, also because we do talk. We talk about friggin' everything, right?
Yep.
I don't know if men do. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I know we talk about everything. Oh, wait a minute. Just so you know, Courtney cannot see the comments only. So I have to put them up for her. Coming from a military influenced upbringing, I was taught not to be overly emotional, and in public, I'm not. So is something only very few people get to see. Yeah. Oops. She'll be back.
Well, Bob always says, I can't read minds, so you got to tell me. So he's got a simplistic view of things. And I'm thinking, well, I can read minds. So watch it, buddy. No,
I heard that.
Exactly.
Yeah. And menopause.
Yeah.
Menopause. I mean, the hot flashes for one, right? That's just one part of it. That's one small part, although it doesn't feel really small when you're having a hot flash. I took my temperature one day here, with one of the digital things, and my temperature was regular, but I took the temperature on my cheeks and it was like 101 because they were so red. I'm like, oh, I'm dying.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I look forward to as we get older too.
Yep.
And then growing extra hair because we don't have as much estrogen, right? Yeah. And or when you're pregnant, if you are pregnant with a son, all that extra testosterone that's in your system while you're pregnant with a male child. So much fun.
Yeah. I have 4 boys.
Oh.
It was fun. So one stigma I wanted to talk about to kind of get further into our discussions is we're going to talk about like female sexuality, stigma, motherhood, and also a bit of society standards when it comes to beauty and all this. For me, sexually, it triggers me so badly to hear a man say we're less valuable if we, for one, put out on the first night. But you did too.
Oh, jeez.
How are you better than me? You did too. Or I'm less valuable because I slept with 5 men. So, oh my gosh, I'm not as pure or theirs. You know what I mean? Those types of stigmas or shame on females and their sexuality really bothers me because I believe to be truly equal, and this ain't just like man bashing, guys, because I'm for actual equality. And for it to be truly equal, women need to be taught to embrace their sexuality more so than to be ashamed of their sexuality. And I'm just a firm believer in that. So how do you ladies feel about female sexuality?
Yeah, I think we need to be empowered. I mean, this is something that I had talked about earlier, and women do it to what women? We compare ourselves to other women. I mean, but even in cases of infidelity or thinking that your partner is cheating, you don't, I mean, half of the time you hear stuff like going after the other woman instead of making the man responsible for his actions because you're in a relationship with the man. So you go after the other woman and then you compare yourself like, well, what don't I have that she's got or whatever? I mean, that is so unempowering, right? It's that whole concept, but it's like, it feels like society has put us there. I mean, this is something we were talking about earlier with like, because of being a woman, and it is getting better, don't get me wrong. We have seen tons of progress, okay? But it was always the woman's place, usually. And I'm not going to say always, and this could be different from country to country, but where I'm from, it was very well known that it was a woman's place to stay at home, or if she did have a job, usually it was part-time because she had to pick up the kids. She had to take them to the dentist or the doctors. She had to pick them up from school if they were sick, which meant that she had less flexibility, or she needed more flexibility in her job than what the guy did. And that's why he was able to make more money or what have you. So it's not just about jobs in general, about a woman making less money. You got to look at the bigger picture here. Society-wise, it was more a woman's responsibility to do that. Come home, make the dinner, do the laundry, take care of the babies in the middle of the night when, like I said, this is just a generalizing. It's not all situations, but it was something that I've seen it many times with family, friends, over the years. That's the way that it was. That's the way they were taught. I know my mom said that it was the guys who ate first, the boys that ate first, and then the girls ate afterwards because she was in a big family. Why? I just don't understand that.
Yeah. Usually I kind of grew up with that too, and the older generations, and I'm not bashing like their generations or my parents or anything, I mean, we're all product of what we're taught. Hi, Abby. And hi, everyone else coming in. Thank you for joining. But I can remember, my mama making dinner, having his plate ready, folding his clothes, making sure every little thing was done while it was the man's job to provide. And they both did a great job at it. But I often wonder why. And I know being a stay-at-home wife or mom, people look at that as, or dad, because these days it could go either way. But they look at that as, oh, well, you don't do as much, or, so.
Exactly.
But I want to say 9 times out of 10, you work just as hard. You're just as exhausted by the end of the day. Without you and that backbone that you have at home taking care of everything while someone's working, I mean, that's valid. That is just as valid because it is just as exhausting, just as stressful, especially if you have kids, to make sure bills are done, make sure the house is clean, laundry's done, people are eating, you're cooking dinner, not to mention other daily stresses of life that may come in, and then children issues. It's just as valid.
I call Carla every day because Carla is a grandma, okay? She's got 2 grandbabies that live in our house as well. And now she has quit working. Well, yeah, for the most part, she's now working from home, taking care of the grandchildren. And because they live there, she takes care of them a lot in conjunction with their mother during the day, whatever. And she's 52 years old.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
a single mom, and I feel like, that's just, I don't even think about it, but yeah, I'm telling you, it's exhausting and it drives me freaking batty most of the time. When I sit back and, or like when I get up in the mornings and my oldest grandbaby boy comes running at me and gets me on, kisses and hugs, it's like all the hard work that doesn't even, it's like, man, I love it. It's all worth it. But when he's acting like a little boy and ADHD, I'm like, yeah, that's
I resonate.
crazy grandma comes out.
So with that being said, why don't we move on to our motherhood little discussion? Right?
Do you want to caught up a little bit here, sweetheart? With
oh, sure. Yeah,
I'll just
thank
put them up for you. You take them over, okay?
You're a prude if you don't put out. I think it's just an excuse for them to get a piece and get rid of you. I agree. That's coercion to me, They used to view our sexuality.
Do you remember the videos that you were showing about the one guy and how they were going after him? Because that was like coercion and stuff, what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that we have been lacking in feminine energy throughout the world, that it's been male energy dominated. So, and it's what we've been needing to get the female energy flowing back into things. So that agenda to keep it from happening is what's been keeping the whole earth from a whole, leveling up, so to speak. You get that female balance in there and we are just gonna level up. And so in order to keep certain factions of, without getting too conspiracy theorist minded in this conversation, there's been an agenda. And you can see it throughout history. Let's keep that woman down. Let's make her look like she's less than. But accepting the equal part of it is essential for ascension.
Case in point yesterday.
And the goddess returning.
Mm-hmm. Case in point yesterday, Friday the 13th, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And you know what? To speak on that, Lady Linewolf, I have seen stuff where they talk about if a woman was seen hysterical, which sometimes just meant not agreeing or not liking, wanting things back in, like, let's say Victorian times, wanting to be able to have an education, like a guy wanting to be able to become a doctor or even have the ability to get a higher education of any sorts. She was hysterical and they would have her go into doctor's offices and sometimes use machinery on her in order to give her an orgasm so that she wouldn't be hysterical anymore, because they thought maybe it was that. And then if it wasn't that, they would also, if it continued, like you said, put them in mental asylums, give them lobotomies, which meant cut out parts of their brain. I mean, they could just be thrown away. Yeah.
They'd shave their locks, like all kinds of humiliating things.
Pull out their teeth.
Sickening.
And that was what, just a little over 100 years ago?
Yes. What she's talking about there too, forced sterilization. Do you know that in my grandmother's time, after when she had her last child, her husband told the doctors to make sure that she was sterilized, and they did it off his command. And what's interesting about that is whether she wanted it or not, it wasn't her choice. And that's sad, from time to time we can see where.
Are we starting to face these issues possibly again?
Well, look at the witch trials.
Look what's going on right now with this new vote and uproar and people taking sides, and
my daughter is a psychology major, and she said something extremely interesting to me the other day when we were talking about mental disabilities. Because of, when a woman acts up or whatever, they're labeled as either crazy or whatever. They're just, yeah. So women have adapted to that. That's how smart we are. We might actually be dealing with something, but we aren't going to show you. And so sometimes even women that are dealing with mental illnesses, they don't even get a second look at, or they can go in and they can be tested and it might not show up because we are that good. We deal with it.
Right.
We deal. And so a lot of things just go on.
Yes.
Yeah. We just deal with it and just keep on moving on because we have to.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. We don't have that luxury.
Yep.
Oh, we can be petty as hell to each other. What verse about judging each other than men are, and we hold each other to a higher standard. Yes.
Yes, so I agree with that.
Coming from a former socialist country where religion was looked down on, women were expected to do their part in the society. Kids went to daycare all day so moms could work. So different than here.
That is, but did women get shamed for that? I've noticed here, women can't win sometimes. If you go to work and your kids are at daycare, she's shamed because, she's not at home with her babies. She's not doing her job. But then if she's at home with the babies, she's lazy. She's letting herself go. She's not doing enough. She ain't. It's sometimes not in everybody, I'm not saying everyone thinks this, but in some cases I have seen this where it's like women just cannot win sometimes in the eyes of society.
Yep. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't, right?
Yep.
Right. And motherhood.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead, honey. I'm lagging, so if I'm interrupting.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, my ex-boss told me after I was in a position for a long time and I had to step down from that position to go back to an old one because I was the only one that could do it. He said, I won't hire another woman because I already know there's not going to be another woman be able to do what you do.
Whatever.
Oh.
Man,
wow.
I was lucky to have that position.
Oh, man.
Because you would never have normally hired a woman. I was like, you just don't know what you just said to me.
Wow. Yeah, my sister's the only woman working in the paving industry in her area, and she takes so much from the men. They all think she's a joke. They've even, when she was working her way up before she owned the business, they would all pick on her and all this, and she got paid less. And when she inquired to the boss about it, He said it's because you're a woman and it's a proven fact women are supposed to get paid less. And
yeah. Yep, I know that. Working in a factory and an industrial, that type of field. Yep. For sure.
And Sonia and Carla and all you grandmamas, you're goddesses.
Man. Domestic goddesses. It's so
you're
much
all
work.
Goddesses.
That's one
I
of the
will
things
tell you, not all men that I've worked with are like that. I can honestly tell you that most of them are awesome. But you have those that they don't think they are one way, and I mean, what do they call that one? The word is escaped. Chauvinist. Yes, thank you. And
Massage.
they are. Yes. That's it.
So motherhood, let's talk about that. And grandmamas, join us too. We all agree it is a beautiful thing. I would not give it up for the world. But I think women are also shamed if they talk about the hard things of motherhood. There are days I want to disappear, scream, rip my hair out, and I'm like, what? Why'd I think this was a good idea? Oh my gosh. You know, we all have them moments. And I think women are made to feel like they have to always embrace the great side, which that's wonderful. Embrace that shit. But we don't get to just let out our feelings of the flip side to all the greatness in motherhood, because it's not all fun and games, is it? If we're being honest, it's not. It isn't like on TV where it's all smiles and the family's just perfect and the kid goes right to sleep when the mom tucks them in and, you know, reads them a bedtime story and it's just all peachy and butterflies. It isn't. And I don't think women get to talk about that much, especially when it comes to like postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis. Like, we are ashamed to even admit this stuff because of all of the pressure we feel from others in society and the way they're going to judge us. Right?
Yeah, oh, yes.
Definitely.
I always said I love my kids best when they're sleeping, because I'm telling you, being a mom is the hardest job there is in the world. And they are the most underappreciated, right? And I'm not saying that's in all cases. But when I talk to my girlfriends that are having problems with their kids that are a certain age, I'm like, oh, honey, you know, just get used to it, because it is just like a stage that goes through, that they're going to go through, that they're going to hate you. They're going to do everything the opposite of what they then they get to another stage in life when they're having their own babies and they go, wow, really? You know? So, but we are, and going back to even like what you had said, where somebody comes home and, you know, it's like, well, you haven't done anything. Just being able to take care of little kids where you don't have a conversation with adults and you are knee deep in diapers, knee deep in helping your children, especially if you're homeschooling. I mean, how many hats does a mother or a woman wear? And we are just, it's not about hating on men. It's just appreciating the glory of a woman. Okay. That's what this is all about.
Right. And what about beauty standards in society and Handmaid's Tale?
I hope that's not the case, because, oh my gosh, I love that show.
Right.
But I don't want that to be reality.
I need to watch it.
It is so good. Just 21 and they live together, and there are days I'd like to pull my hair out because the girlfriend lives with up to these two can drive me nuts some days. Oh my gosh, yes. Mom shaming is real.
Yes.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And I'm not saying all women.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But some of this. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Carla.
You're fine.
I just had a thought that, like, have you ever been shamed by another mom too?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, definitely.
And that's really even more so hurtful, in my opinion, because we understand the differences with men and women. We've gone through it for so long. But when another woman, another mom, looks down on you like you're doing something wrong, like that's kind of.
I got one for you. When my son was little, about 2 years old, and it was terrible twos, let me tell you. It was the darkest time in my life when my first child was born, because I mean, let alone women lose their identity. I mean, at least I felt like I had lost my independence, and I had Tyler when I was like 23, right? And then turned 24 not long after that. Well, that's not right. I was 23. So, but I was going through so much already, and I wanted to work. I wanted to be out working and having adult conversations and stimulating feeling of accomplishing things, right? So I would hear these stories from other moms, if because I baby proofed. I would put like my chemicals up. I would put also the little things on the cabinet doors so that they couldn't get it. I would put the little things in the electrical things, and I would hear, or I made sure like leashes or whatever I had capable, make sure he was tied down really tight in his car seat, all these things. And I would hear other moms say, I never needed that. My children listen to me. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? My kids defy me, especially my terrible two. I'm not going to let my ego and pride get in the way of possibly letting my child overdose on something that they got a hold of in like a split second, or like a baby going like this and then sticking their finger in a light socket. Takes only a second for that to happen. And babies are teething. They're always going like this. It's just like, really? You're going to shame me like I'm not a good enough mom?
There's no child that is the same as another. Same as there's not someone that's exactly like you. So, I mean, parenting happens according to the child. And I'm telling you, if you're going to leave your child in a playpen all day, well, there you go. But no, when you're trying to watch one or more, or should I say two or more, because one is 2, 3, you're like, okay, where'd you go? What are you doing now? I mean, especially when they're little, and yeah, they're reaching for stuff, and yeah, you just want to be able to tie them all up, and but you
Yeah.
I had postpartum depression, and it turned into psychosis. I was a very young mother. I didn't know that I had postpartum depression with my first, and then I kind of had them like in stepping stones so close together. And I had ended up getting postpartum psychosis, and I got help for that. And I remember being shamed by a lot of mothers around me for that. Like, oh, you can't handle it. You can't handle motherhood. I was going through a lot, like with domestic violence, just different things like that. But that was really devastating for me. And I thought I did the right thing. I went and got help,
Exactly.
So, and I never hurt my baby.
Right. Instead of judging, why can't they say, what? I see you need help. Let me give you a helping hand. Let me come in once a week. Maybe this girlfriend can come in once a week and help out. And we all remember what it was like being a new mom, right? Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. I don't want to make it all horror stories because it wasn't, but there was a lot of horror stories too, seriously.
Yes. When I first seen my baby's faces, I never felt or knew a love like that feeling when you first see them. But man, I worked at a hospital too, and you know what? I could relate to you with that. Yes. That's actually where I was when I had gotten help and seen that doctor I worked with. Yeah.
Got made fun of a lot.
Thought of a lot of things. You know, I experienced that too, doll, and that is just despicable. They have no right judging who you open your legs to, you know?
Unbelievable.
I'm so sorry you experienced that for all women, because I know we all have a story.
Oh, there's so much. I'm trying to find it. Can either of you ladies see the comment?
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to fix my signal.
Let's see.
Is my voice okay, guys? Or
yes, I can hear you, honey.
There we go. Okay. Okay, it kind of dropped for me there, so all right, I wasn't sure.
Wow.
There's always going to be some bitch or some DICK that makes everybody else look bad. You're going to always have somebody like that, you know, and honestly, it doesn't matter if you're male or female in that aspect. If you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist.
Right. And Sonia, you know, it's okay to feel like that. I could totally understand why you do. You know, that's what this message is. It's okay to feel how you feel. It is overwhelming being a woman, a goddess, a mother, a grandma.
Yes, it is. It is wonderful, but it's also a lot of friggin' work. It's not a walk in the park. And come on, let's all
do it. Yes, queen. And if you ever want to wear one on one of our topics here, you know, let us know.
You will no longer cast spells. Yeah.
Just a matter of time.
Evil eyes. Oh, yes. Yes.
When I was breastfeeding my first son in the store, now I had a blanket over us, you know, so I wasn't exposed. I had the baby propped on my arm and I was completely covered. And I remember this woman, her husband was like right there, but I wasn't exposed in any way. You know, I was trying to be respectful. And she walks over and snatches the blanket off my baby and starts cussing me out, saying her husband's right there and everything. And I am like, what? So yeah, that's a grocery store horror experience. I was just like, lady.
So Lady Blind says, my oldest had ADHD and I got flack for that, especially when it came to cutting red dye out of his diet or letting him have a lot of candy because would sneak stuff to him behind my back. Oh, jeez.
I can relate, darling. My boys have ADHD and ODD. It's difficult, so difficult.
Didn't exist. And
that's
true. Matter of whipping my child, but then you spank your kid, and here come the cops because you're committing abuse.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Love you guys. Got to go early. So nice to as soon as everyone's back together. See you.
It's wonderful to see you, doll.
I didn't want to tell horror stories because I know she's about to have a baby, right? Yes, which is, I don't regret it.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't regret it at all, right?
Oh, me neither.
But there's a lot of dark days that are involved in being a mom as well. And, you know, getting support from other people is so beneficial, you know, other women.
It's all about, it's because the feminine energy is all about love. Tarot destroyer. Anyway, I think that love is the winner, is the hero. So it's like every hero goes through trials and tribulations to become the hero, to be the hero. So after you go through childbirth, after you raise a child, after you know, go through the lessons that you think that child needs to learn, at the end of it, it's the end of it that you forget all about the bad stuff that you had to go through, just like childbirth. I don't remember those pains because, oh my gosh, look at those beautiful eyes looking at me.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
when he comes and he gives me big hugs in the morning and Dima, it's like, oh, I love you so much, baby. It's one of those things. It's like, I am happy to do what I do, but there's no denying that it can have its struggles. But that is
Yes.
what makes us goddesses.
Exactly.
The fact that we can handle it.
Yes.
I love how society has shamed breastfeeding moms for decades, and now babies will go hungry because of formula shortage.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like you can't win, right?
And then if we formula feed, you could be shamed for that. My nipples had become inverted and engorged. I could only breastfeed them for like a month because it got so bad. I had to stop, and then I was shamed for that as well. And I'm just like, man, we can't win.
I went through
Same
that
with C-section versus vaginal birth.
I'm a C-section. I'm a C-section mama. And we were told we're not as woman as one that gives birth natural. There's that too. I mean,
you couldn't do it as well as somebody that,
well, it would kill me because I did try a VBAC and it almost killed me.
Childbirth. And thank God for technology and the fact that the doctors have found a way to get past that. Women dying in childbirth. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. Ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's tantrums, poopy diapers, yelling, screaming.
Yep.
Yes. And that's why we are goddesses, because we can do that and we can still turn it on when we need to, right?
Yeah. And we do this while we're bleeding for 8 weeks, still healing. Our coochie has stitches or our tummy has stitches and we're sleep deprived and also got to take care of the rest of the house. And I mean, come on, we are fucking goddesses. Okay.
And how about this image of that, like you were saying, that a goddess is just like this beautiful, her body is always just perfect. Really? How about after breastfeeding babies or having several babies, and as we get older, they're not perky anymore? Okay, sorry. You're going to get a gut. I mean, how big does a woman get when she's pregnant, for goodness sakes? And then you multiply that by however many children that they have. And there are some women that just make us all look bad because their body does go back. And God bless them. Seriously. Goddess bless them. But the majority of us, I don't think we ever our bodies go back the way, and we're shamed for that. I have heard men say comments, well, you better have your body back within a certain amount of time, or it's like,
I'm leaving, I'm not attracted. Yeah. Like she just grew a whole human being you helped her create in her body, bro. Like
I'm gonna say it, I got sexier.
Yes, you did.
Me too. All my stretch marks, I'm a tigress.
Those are war wounds. Okay.
Yep. I didn't start losing my like I want to say my allure or whatever till menopause.
You still have not lost it, sis.
Well, you know what I mean, as far as like my body going through the changes that, hence talk deeper, got hairs to pluck, and oh yeah, menopause.
Gaining more weight as a grandma, that is a young mama, LOL. That is a young mama. Yes.
I'm not there yet. That's what I'm talking about. It's the truth.
Exactly. Because apparently when you're on antibiotics, it cancels it out. And then
everyone mine were.
I didn't know that.
That's how my first one came about. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, talking about what's going on without actually saying the words, what are going, in our Supreme Court. And having issues, are we going to have other rights taken away, like, like the day after and birth control and stuff like that, right? And saying, well, if you don't want to have babies, then get on birth control or don't have. Really? So does that also apply to men too?
Exactly.
Or to other
women? Yeah, that angers me so much.
Maybe we need a snip kit for, that we can use. If you don't want to do that, how about a little snip?
We'll do it ourselves right here for your child.
Where are you going? I thought we was gonna have a good time.
I love it.
Little snip, right? You only heard a little.
I'll tie you to my bed and you can, just kidding.
There's only gonna be stop it.
Well, thank you, Rhiannon. Right back at you, Mama.
Right. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna need to take a. Wow.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna need to take a moment. My phone's dying, and I'm having some issues with.
My goodness. Wow.
So did you do the Crohn's spread, or which one did you like the best, sis?
I did do the Crohn's spread. Let me see here. And did you guys that are in the chat, did you guys do any of the spreads? And what of those spreads was your favorite? Or for me, let's see. Emotions and feelings, which was the first one. What is happening right now with my emotions and how can I help myself? With how I feel. I got the Queen of Hearts as with my emotions, and the Three of Hearts I got for how can I help myself with how I feel. And I took that like joining in with sisters like this, talking about our struggles and our joys, having a place where we can talk with other people that are going through many of the same things that we are. Just sometimes being heard is the medicine within itself, right?
Yep.
And as far as Queen of Hearts, what is happening right now with my emotions? Everything is happening with my emotions, right? And I embrace those. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I didn't draw 2 cards, but I just drew one. But I figured I could use it for both questions. And I got the Ace of Cups.
You got the Ace of Cups, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I drew one for each one. One card for each one. Because for the emotions and feelings, there was 2 prompts.
There she is.
Welcome back, sweetheart. We see you. Yeah, Rhiannon
it is like getting so bad, the signal.
Oh man.
Exactly. You could have made something by now. You know what? Why can't men carry babies? Can they carry babies and give birth? I'm sure our technology can figure it out somehow. So maybe we can have them offer to, instead of picking outside of places saying, have a sign that says, I will carry that baby for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I still kind of, that little snip would be a good form of birth control.
I read that they do have birth control for men, but men just think it's the woman's job. So it isn't talked about or used a lot. And I'm like, really?
I think though, sometimes they are really like at the same time, like, cause I remember Bob being that way with me sometimes during that time, be hormonal and bitchy. And I'd be like, you have my hormones. I can tell. What do you mean? Yeah. Like, oh, that.
Crack me up, I swear, man. Yes. My husband
I forgot Mercury was in retrograde.
Yes, that's probably what's going on there, honey. After my second that we were done, he didn't expect it all to be on me. That's really good.
It is.
That is lovely.
Yep.
Praise to him, man.
Yep.
I am going to do the crone. The crone was so good.
It was good.
The next one was how can I tap into my inner flame? And I got the lovers. And I think that comes back to like what you were saying, Carla, having balance between the masculine and the feminine. That is what really truly ignites, right? Not being one or the other, but both combined creates the whole, makes us fire the way that we're supposed to.
I got the Knight of Wands.
Knight of Wands.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just got to go for it. Wow. So for the next one, I got where do I need to direct my intuition? I got the Two of Trees and the Knight of Hearts. So be more flexible in my love life, right? Really? I got to be more flexible right now? I don't know. Menopause don't want me to be more flexible. Just saying. What about you, sis? What was the second part you got? Where do I need to?
Like I said, I only drew one card, but each card I could see using it to answer both those questions. Like the Ace of Cups, I got what is happening right now with my emotions. I got new stuff going on, especially with menopause, not doing the day job, and taking care of grandbabies, which is a whole new job in itself. And then how can I help myself with how I feel? Well, then that's still looking at it in a new way, with the Ace of Cups. And so like with the Knight of Wands, how can I tap into my inner fire? Well, then that's still passionately. And then where do I need to direct my intuition? Well, that's like not being in fear of anything, being fearless. So I still use that one card for both.
Mm-hmm. So Lady Blind Wolf says, yeah, we drove an hour and a half to a protest and only 2 people besides us showed up yet. We did show support. I cut a couple decent got a couple decent tarot decks and a cat out of the whole situation. Yeah. I know I am only 44. No, not only 44. 44. That's a whole lot of experience.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
I have been a widow and grandma already. Yes.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yes. Wow. I have a lot of respect for the crone transformation of the woman. I think it's a beautiful time in life, and they don't get enough of the spotlight as much as the maiden. You know what I mean? I mean, in our society, if you get what I'm trying to say. And I think it's beautiful, and women that are in the crone stage should be way more embraced. I'm just in my pre-menopause. I'm starting to have changes happen, but I know you ladies have a bit more of an experience with that, and I commend you because I hear it is not easy, and even pre isn't easy for me. So, wow.
That's not always the case. Age is not always a factor either, because when I asked you, you told me that your mother and your grandmother both were very early, so you could be starting it as well.
What's going on?
But I did want to say something, talking about the crone and all that, right? We were watching this movie the other night. It's the one with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, The Lost City.
Yeah.
She'll be back, guys. And my husband looked at Sandra Bullock and says, man, it looks like she's had some work done, like around her mouth. And it does look like she's had some work done. But my whole thing is, you know what? It is so much different for a woman in Hollywood than what it is for a man. Because he goes, man, I always hate it when I see women that have stuff done. You know what I mean? Because he wants to see them all natural. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I love to see them naturally growing older as well without the work and stuff. But I also understand why a woman would feel like she has to do those things in Hollywood and in certain industries because they make it that way. They don't get shot for certain things, or they only get to take on certain roles. That's why I like Helen Mirren. I mean, she is elderly, but she is sexy as fuck. You know, she is so gorgeous. And I feel like they give her roles that also is still sexy, you know? I love seeing that. I wish they would embrace it more. But that is like a double standard.
What's her name? She played in Halloween.
Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes, she embraces it too. And my grandmother loved her, and she's gorgeous. Her gray hair, she rocks it so well. Like, and I think it comes down to embracing and that confidence. It isn't that you're ugly.
I was thinking about it this morning, that whole thing of becoming the crone is the fact that you don't embrace the things that you don't have anymore. You embrace what you do have. And when you wear that, other people, because, you know, I just had to go back to the factory not too long ago to help them out a little. I didn't have to, chose to, but anyway, to help them out. And I kept thinking, you know, and I'm going back and I got, you know, 10 more pounds of baggage on me than what I had before. And I'm thinking, oh God, I don't really want to see these people. But you know what? That's not what they cared about. You know, they don't look at me like that because I'm not that. They just, you know, my expertise in what I did, my personality, and I'm talking my own self up because that's how you have to be. You got to accept the beautiful things that you bring to the table. And if you wear that, that's all the other people care about. It's what they see.
Yeah.
You know?
Right on.
They're not going to compare you to that.
The different cycles.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. I did want to say something here too, that she says that her body couldn't handle the birth control methods. Mine couldn't either. I couldn't take the pill because it was too hard on my body.
Yeah.
So, you know, what do we do there? Because obviously the alternative, which is just other than a vasectomy for a guy, those are never foolproof either. Very rarely are they 100% foolproof, right?
Yeah.
So it's not always as cut and dry as all that.
Right.
Kind of spaced it on the right to do the spreads. But I did that communication with deity spread. I sent you guys, and I need to get that video uploaded. I wish somebody would explain to me why the go on woman for choosing to end a pregnancy, but yet they want to cut the funding to help a woman with children survive. Yes, exactly. Look at our foster care system. That is so bad, right?
Yes.
I mean, how many children are abused in the foster care system or just forgotten, and then they end up in juvie or whatever?
A lot of lost adults that grew up in that system.
Yeah. What was it that you were talking about that you had heard? Somebody had made the comment, well, then if a woman can have the choice, then a man should have a choice. If they do decide to have the baby, not have to pay child support. Like, really?
Yeah. It's like, okay. As always, you're entitled, bruh. No.
That was a really smart comment, right? That's kind of stupid. I'm sorry, but
no, that's my thought. I'm just like,
why don't they protest to better do these laws with men that violate young girls, men that commit domestic violence, men that have kids and then don't help provide for them, but yet they want to tell women what to do with their own bodies. Exactly right.
Absolutely. A motherfucking man.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that I'm not in balance. I've been in that masculine energy too much and for too long. So I'm trying to balance it out. I'm going to make a witch's ladder with nothing but feminine charms. I think that's beautiful.
Me too.
Yeah.
All the spreads that I did for this video all told me that I'm out of balance. So yeah, and it's validation of what I already know.
I think I'm definitely out of balance too, because I try to be more mindful in my head all the time rather than allowing myself to be emotional, because it has been don't be emotional, you're just a woman, you shouldn't. And I'm not saying that that's in my family per se, just as a general kind of thing. And so I always try to be extremely logical, but I do need to. I think that there's strength in showing our vulnerability. And when we show our vulnerability and allow ourselves to be emotional, that's when people can really see the heart of us and they won't be so reactive. Because I feel like that reactive energy is not feminine energy. I feel like that reactive energy is masculine energy. So,
Right, and I'd love to see men more emotional as well. That stigma on them, you know, where they aren't allowed to be. They have to be hard. No, no, no. Show me how you feel.
yeah, because
Right.
feminine energy,
That's where I think it is the opposite, but that's just my opinion.
well, most generally, I think female energy is receptive, whereas masculine is active and taking action on. So that's why I see the reaction.
That makes sense too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I just know, like, going out into an environment where it's male dominated, and then compared to being in an environment where it's female dominated, you feel more, because of the emotions, you feel more like, oh, I got to watch what I say sometimes. Whereas in the men, they just kind of, it's almost like they don't even know you're there. So, and that's talking from experience, you know, going into those situations. I was lead in a band for what, 15 years, and men aren't like that.
I don't know if that's entirely true, sis, because Jim has told me, my husband works in the car industry, and that is heavily dominated in the male, male energy and men. And when a woman does work there, they're different to her face than when she walks away. And then what they start.
I can believe that. I can believe that. Yeah. Most of my friends growing up were male. And I have the same probably 5 female friends that I've had since I was, you know, in grade school. So I'm interacting with women is different than interacting with men. And it probably is a lot of that. It's now I do have the male friends that unfortunately they aren't with us anymore. They passed, but they had more of that female where we connected. And then I also have the ones that are like, ooh, ooh, you know, ooh, look at me, ooh, peacocking all the fucking time. Or I mean, all the time.
Dick test or dick swinging contest is what I call them.
Sorry, we really, in truth, guys, we have extreme potty mouths.
Sorry, need for that to slip out there.
I know.
Where's the soap? Can you edit that? No, I'm just
kidding. Bad grandma.
I know, right? That's what they need. They got bad grandpa. They need to do bad grandma. Oh, boy, that would be funny.
I wish my grandma could star in that.
I'm sorry, I gotta remember. Does she swear like a truck driver? Always. We do. I mean,
try not to, but
what is your favorite swear word? Which one do you use most of the time? I've got 2.
Me too.
I have 2, but one may offend a lot of people.
What, Carla? What is yours?
Mine is shit.
Yours is shit.
And then F comes out, but it's usually shit.
Mine's fuck.
Yeah, mine, that comes out. Look, Rochelle looks like she's meditating.
But it's also things like, I make up words too. I'll be like, oh my God, you nipple nostril.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like frig. That's what.
Was I like stuck like this or something?
No, you look like you were meditating.
Meditating.
You were. Yeah, you
I have to give
Using her goddess energy.
Yeah. Hers is fun.
Fuck club.
A white child is 70,000 and a mixed child are cheaper, and with COVID and women keeping their kids are getting abortions, babies are in shortage for parents that want to adopt and are willing. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how much I cuss. Oh, you have no idea how much I cuss. Let it out, girlfriend. Yeah. I mean, as moms and parents, we have to, don't we? It's like a release. Yeah. How many times have you taken like a pillow, put it over your head, and just like screamed, like, or go outside?
Bleep, bleep, bleep. And then bleep, bleep.
I let it build and build, and I shouldn't. And then like I just spaz out, and my kids think I'm psycho, but that's the only time they listen. Literally, they will poke at me, laugh at me, and then one day I'm just like, "Blah!" And they're like, okay, hey, Mom.
Yeah. Yep. Then you're crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Then they're afraid of what you might do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I will see Carla because my mom and my sister and I will do like the three, the FaceTime talking a lot. Mm-hmm. Carla's always babysitting, of course. And you will see that she'll be really good with like Liam and say, Liam, don't. Liam, and then he'll just keep at it and be screaming. She'll go, I told you. I mean, she gets
I said.
The exorcist voice. I thought I told you already.
It's like her old.
So I'll mute it and then go, and then it's.
Love it.
Oh my gosh. What is that?
No, just kidding.
It's your fork over the money. Oh, fork over the money. And because of COVID, they can't go to other countries to get babies. And yeah, foster care is the gift that keeps on giving kids what were in care have kids that wind up. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like a market or a business.
Oh, yeah.
She says making up curse words is the funnest.
It is fun.
Oh, yes.
I love that. Yeah.
You guys have laughed at me over that a few times.
That get put in care. Yeah. Some of it.
That's awesome.
Monkey balls.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember? I can't remember what the show was, but the one guy was talking like Fargan ice holes.
Oh my gosh! Yes, I didn't think of that.
Oh my gosh, I loved that.
You Fargan arse hole or something like that. Yeah.
You stinking bastages.
Yeah.
So strict, I couldn't even say shut up or God, so my cursing is healing my inner child right now.
It most certainly is, darling.
You know what? Mom would tell us, if I catch you swearing, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap. And I don't mean, she would like take the soap and like scrape it on our teeth, right? But, and she did that a couple of times, but she said the only time I'll allow it is if it's in a song.
Yeah. So now you want to mess with her.
A song. Yeah. God, I'm so regretting never saying that. We were just like screaming the shit, right? Too funny. So what is the line between goddess energy and toxic femininity? Wow. I think not supporting other females, looking as if, like mother, like what we talked about, shaming other women for not doing this right or not doing that right when they could, in fact, be saying, let me help you. Obviously, you need help. You need a break, maybe. Or telling them that maybe they're dressing a little bit too seductively, or in a relationship, if your man is cheating with the other woman, maybe looking at your man as the problem, not the other woman. You know what I mean? Because you're in a relationship with the man, not the other woman. So
you don't know what he's telling her.
It's the hero thing. If you're not using your powers for good, then you're using them for bad. And that's the whole thing. There is power in it. You can use it to manipulate, but for the greater good is the end result. If it's not that, then you're not the hero in your own story. It's recognizing it's,
right. And I'm a big feminist, for equality, and I do see where it can be taken to an extreme, and creates imbalance between the male and females archetype. I think it gets toxic on either side when equality is not in balance.
Hallelujah, I agree with that.
One cannot be beneath the other on their knees. They should stand as equals, just as powerful, working together.
Yep.
My thing is, when I hear, and I've heard this many times, especially with the older generation, this woman got to power. I can't vote for this woman because I don't trust her, because look at how she got to power, right? Whereas a man who's powerful, do you think that there are things that are not going to come out of his skull? I mean, like in politics wise, right? I can't vote for her because she's a woman, so I would rather vote for this guy. Or a woman is too emotional. I don't want a woman to be, the head of any kind of anything because she's too emotional. And I hear other women saying that about other women, as if a woman cannot be a rational thinking person. Well, if that's the case, then how are women the ones that are mainly taking care of the babies? If you feel that that woman's too emotional and can't handle it, why is she taking care of the most treasurable thing that we have, which is babies, right? And children, and raising them.
And why do you depend on her?
Because I believe, and because I've been in a situation where I've had a woman boss quite a few times, like a lot. And you hear the stories that, well, how did they get that position? And I could tell you that I've been in a couple situations where the scenario was one of each. One, the woman worked hard. One, and the other, the woman didn't work hard. So that there is a difference. And I can tell you that both those bosses, when crossed, were the epitome of a bitch. And it's hard when you're a woman because they look at you as another woman might possibly want to take their place. And you don't get treated fairly. Now, I'm only telling you from that experience. I believe that it is just as with anything, whether you're male or female. You don't have your stuff in check. If you're not in balance, then you're gonna show it. People are gonna feel the unfairness of you being in that position because you don't handle it right. It's just being a balanced individual, period, male or female.
Okay, but if we had equal representation where everything was balanced on the earth, or even balanced in our own country where we had 50-50 or even closer to that as far as governmental representation and representation or higher ups in corporations and boards, stuff like that, women wouldn't have to toxic femininity compete with one another. They wouldn't have to, because they would be treated equally along with the man in those situations. So I understand exactly, and I agree with exactly what you just said. However, it's because she's got to survive that she's got to even act that way. Do you see what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree with everything you said, because the only reason I think that it has been this way thus far is because of the imbalance of the feminine energy throughout the world. Maybe different areas might not be as bad as where we live, as far as like the corporate world. But, from what I've seen, it's been male dominated. And so a woman in that position does have to frickin' fight to stay in there. She will pull out every frickin' dirty trick to stay there. And a lot of people get hurt in that manner, but it is because of the world, the imbalance that's happening within the world. So yes, sis, I agree with that. If it was more balanced, it would be so much better.
And you know what? We had this discussion in our chat. I'm sorry, Courtney, you've been trying to say something.
That's okay. I just wanted to add to that as well. Some people may view or judge a woman as like toxic if they say slept their way to that role. Mm-hmm. I don't view that as toxic. We've been told so long that our sexuality is our only worth or power. So when a woman uses that, is that toxic femininity, or is she surviving or doing what she feels she needs to do to succeed?
But like Rochelle said,
she
shouldn't have to feel that way.
Right.
That shouldn't be the focus of her power. But she's been made to feel that way.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I mean, because it wasn't that long ago, over 100 years ago, where a woman was not allowed to have property of her own. If she did not have a male child, she was screwed if her husband died. She had to remarry. She didn't have the luxury of not. And granted, this is depending on country, stuff like that, right? Location. But that is, I mean, when we were looking at the suffragettes, when they were just fighting for the right for a woman to vote, their husbands were divorcing them, taking their children. The women had no rights, period. And then because they were just protesting, not violently protesting, they got arrested. They got force fed through their nose in prison. They got beat. I mean, like men just jumping on these women.
Yep. Whenever there is an agenda that is created by any person in power, and whenever that agenda is violated, no matter if you're on the good side or no matter if you're doing something good, if it goes against the agenda, the world is not going to know that what you did was good. They're going to make it like what you did was bad. And that's pretty much with anything that goes against an agenda created by those in power.
We had this discussion in our private chat a few months ago because, like Maria was saying, things are completely different in Germany, where she's from, than what it was in the United States. And when I started showing figures, because people will tell me, I mean, I've even had my kids say, oh, women, we do have equality, everything is equal. If that was the case, then why do we have more women graduating with still less female doctors, less female attorneys or CEOs, or, I mean, in a staggering difference in percentages? What, 25% is women representing our government? 25%, when the population of females in the United States alone is 51%, or at least the last time I checked, it was 51%. Is that equal representation? We still have not even had a female president.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. How do we have equal? It is not equal. When a man and a woman are in a relationship and have children, who gets the better positions because they look at, whether they admit it or not, they look at somebody that is a woman and a man applying for the same job and say, well, if that woman's got kids, then she might have to leave work in order to take the kids to school, to take the kids to the doctors if the kid's sick. So if a man applies, he's more likely to get that job because, but not that there's not sacrifices for men involved in that as well, because it is a double standard. So the men lose more time with their families that they value, that is valuable to them. So there are sacrifices on both sides. If we had equal, it could be so much better.
I agree. I agree. We need to change the world.
The goddess is returning. Or I believe.
Well, I think she is. I think she is. It's just been a slow process.
Right. And she is
up and down the street. Sorry. You guys have read that, yeah.
And I was just saying she's, you know, projecting through all of us.
Yep.
Love it.
Yes. So it's been quite a while now. It's been like almost going on 2 hours, ladies. We should probably.
This was a wonderful chat.
Yes.
Yep.
This was wonderful.
Would like to add? You guys,
sorry.
Anyone would like to add before we wrap this up?
I'm sorry for all the like glitches and lags and all that. This was crazy. Like Mercury at it again.
Typical, right? Messing with this feminine energy we got going on here.
Right? Oh, how do y'all like my new light too? Just saying.
I like it.
Shell got it for me.
Looks good. Look at those gorgeous eyes.
Oh, thank you. I'm blind without my glasses, can't see anything, but somehow with this light, I can see. Isn't that interesting? I'm bringing that up to my doctor, and I want to know why with light I can see perfectly when without these and without that light, I can't see anything. What's going on there?
Wow. And the light is on you.
So right in my eyes. And I can see perfect.
Wow.
It's weird.
I love this stream. Love your goddess energy too. Anytime you ever want to come on with us, sweetheart.
Yep.
I mean, we want to open this up to anybody. If you ever want to join us, just let us know.
We got the round table coming up, right?
Yes, we have the round table coming up, I believe, on the 21st. Let me see. I'm going to my weekly planner here really quick. Yeah, Saturday the 23rd or 21st is our next. And who's channel? Carla's channel.
I think, and it's all about the twos, right?
Yeah, about the twos. Duality.
Yeah. Ooh.
Carla, those faces. You are so expressive with your face.
I love it.
I do too. Thank you guys, everyone, for joining us, and anybody that's going to be watching this back later.
We love you. And until next time, darklings, lightlings, and hybrids, and everyone else. There, I said it. All right. Goodbye, guys.